What's up, guys? I'm covering Snake Eyes. This deck is pretty fun. It's very easy to play, in my opinion. It has a lot of combos you can do with it. So many combos that it was a little overwhelming to me at first, but I really like the deck. It's been a long time since I played a fire deck in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! The last time I did that was when Volcanic Support came out in the TCG, and I played it at the San Antonio Regional. That was probably like a decade ago at this point almost. So it's been nice to play a fire deck again in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So let's go ahead and get started. We have two Effect Veiler. This card's just been generally good in the meta, so I've just been running two of it. It's definitely been helpful, and I feel like it's going to continue being helpful going into the new format with the new ban list we just got. One Jet Synchron. This is a level 1 fire, and it's a level 1 fire monster that is also a tuner, and that is easy to bring back from the grave. So if this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can add one junk monster from your deck to your hand. You probably won't be doing that. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use one Jet Synchron effect per turn, and only once this turn. That second effect is the one that you're going to be using a lot. Next, we have Snake Eye Ash. This card, being an SR, is pretty great, so it's easy to craft. If it's normal or special summoned, you can add one fire monster from your deck to your hand. Most of the time, you'll be adding Snake Eye's Poplar. I know it's Poplar, but I like calling it Poplar. It makes me think of the Poplar episode from Futurama. But you can add one fire monster from your deck to your hand. Its second effect is you can send two face-up cards you control to the graveyard, including this card, special summon one Snake Eyes monster from your hand or deck except Snake Eyes Ash. You can only use each effect of Snake Eyes Ash once per turn. Now, it's one card you control, so it can be one card that's face up in your spell and trap zone, and we're going to get to why that is important in just a little bit. Next, we have Snake Eyes Oak. If it's normal or special summoned, you can target one of your level 1 fire monsters that is banished or in the graveyard, add it to your hand, or special summon it. You can send two face up cards, including this card, to the graveyard. Special summon one Snake Eye monster from your hand or deck, except Snake Eye Oak. You can only use each effect of Snake Eye Oak once per turn. So, first of all, normal or special, add it to your hand. And so, okay, cool. So, first of all, the first effect is really useful just because being able to special summon a banish fire in your graveyard. Let's say you have this in your grave from last turn and you normal summon this. This being able to this effect to then add this to your hand, which will let it special summon itself. More on that in a moment. Is really good. We don't run more than one because this card and this card are just better, honestly. So we really only need one, but it does get us out of a jam when we end up needing it. Why I'm not running the one shiny one I have in here and I'm running the vanilla one, I don't know. Next we have Snake Eye Birch. If you control a fire monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, so already that's a decent effect. And that also works with the Jet Synchron to let us make the level 2 to draw for really desperate. So that first effect is great. Once per turn, once per, you can only special summon once per turn this way. Oh, I'm already butchering this deck profile. Why do you guys watch me? During your opponent's turn, this is a quick effect. You can send two face-up cards you control to the graveyard, including this card. Special summon one Snake Eye monster from your hand or deck, except for Birch. You can only use this effect of Snake Eye Birch once per turn. So this is great because you can play during your opponent's turn. That's always good in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Next we have Snake Eyes Poplar. If this card is added to your hand, except by drawing it, you can special summon this card. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Snake Eye spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So this is awesome because you can go normal this, add this, special this, and then get a spell or trap card. And it gets even better because if it's sent to the graveyard for any reason, like even if you synchro with it for a level 2 synchro, if you have a tuner on board, you can target one fire monster in your graveyard, place it face up in its owner's spell and trap card continuous zone, or sorry, plays it as a continuous spell in its owner's spell or trap card zone. You can only use each effect of Snake Eye Poplar once per turn. So this is great because let's say you don't even have any other fire monsters in your graveyard. You could target this card in your graveyard and place it, and a lot of the other Snake Eye effects let you special summon from the spell and trap card zone when they're treated as continuous. So right off the bat, that's a really good effect. This card all around amazing. 3 Max C. This is a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Max C is legal in a best of 1 format. You better bet we're going to be playing it. 3 Ash Blossom because 1, this card is fire because the fire attribute actually really matters in this deck. 2, the effect is really good. 3, your opponent is probably running 3 Max C, so you're going to need 3 Ash. Next we have Diabellstar the Black Witch. This card is great. You can special summon it from your hand by sending 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard. I believe, yeah, sent to the graveyard, period. So you can actually trigger Poplar effect off this if you have nothing else to send. But 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard. You can only special summon Diabellstar the Black Witch once per turn this way. You can only use the following effects of Diabellstar the Black Witch once per turn. If this card is normally special, you can set a Sinful Spoil, spell, or trap directly from your deck. During your opponent's turn, if this card is sent from the owner's hand or field to the graveyard, you can send 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. So this card is just decent all around, and the fact that it lets you get a Sinful Spoil, spell, or trap is also very good. More on that in a little. And then I'm running 2 Snake Eyes Flameberg Dragon. I see a lot of people running 3. I think 2 is fine. I don't really think you need 3, personally. You can target 1 face-up monster on the field or in either graveyard, which is awesome. Place a face-up in its owner's spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target 1 monster card treated as a continuous spell on the field and special summon it to your field. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can special summon 2 level 1 fire monsters from your graveyard. You can only use each effect of Snake Eyes Flameberg Dragon once per turn. This card is awesome. Being able to put my opponent's cards in their spell and trap zone as spell and traps and then summon them to my zone is an amazingly good effect. Yes, it targets, but it's still great. It's just still an amazing effect, and you'll see that on some of the replays. Next we have Nibiru. I'm running 2 Nibiru. I found that it's really good for this format. The coming format, now that Prank Kids are going to be back in rotation and a couple of the older decks are going to be back in rotation, I feel like Nibiru is definitely going to be able to see more play, and I feel like running it at 2 is not a bad thing. 1 for 1 because look, this is a level 1, this is level 1, this is level 1, this is level 1, this is level 1. How many targets do you have? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 targets. 11 if you count Effect Veiler, although I have no idea why you would beam out Effect Veiler with this. But yeah, definitely want 1 for 1 in here. 2 Triple Tactics Talent. This card has helped unclog my hand whenever my opponent does something that I don't want with hand traps to one of my cards. So this has just been very useful. The take control of a monster is also good. The one I've been using the least is actually looking at my opponent's hand and shuffling. But that is definitely also a good effect. Next we have Sinful Spoils of Subversion. I see a lot of people not even running 1 copy of this and sleeping on this card. I think this card is very good. Target 1 face-up monster on the field, so it can be either field. Place it face up in its owner's spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. This is really good for setting up the big guy, and it's also really good just for spot removing things that you don't want. You're going to see me doing that a lot in the replays. Also, it is a Sinful Spoils card. It's a Sinful Spoils card you can search with Diabellstar and set and even use that turn. So this can really open up the field if you need it to. Like, let's say they let this go through with Baron. You can set this, activate this, target Baron. They're going to have to negate it, pretty much. They're going to have to negate it, or you're going to take their Baron with the big guy on the next turn. Like, this card is just very decent and it's searchable. Next we have 2 original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye. Once again, I see a lot of people running 3 of this. I think you only need 2. It is searchable, and you have 3 of Diabell Star, so I feel like 2 is enough. Send 1 other face-up card you control to the graveyard. It can be in your main row, the monsters row, front row, or it can be in your back row, spell and trap card zone. Special summon 1 level 1, level 5, what am I on? Level 1 fire monster from your hand or deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Target 1 Snake Eye or Diabella Star monster in your graveyard. Add 1 level 1 fire monster from your deck to your hand. Then place the targeted monster on the bottom of the deck. So not only does this let you special summon, you can banish it from your grave, put a Snake Eye or Diabella monster from your grave, target a Snake Eye or Diabella monster in your graveyard, add a level 1 fire, then put that monster you targeted on the bottom of the deck. So it lets you recur something, it lets you get a draw, and it lets you search something as well. You can only use 1 original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye effect per turn, only once that turn. This card is incredibly good. 1 Divine Temple of the Snake Eye. When this card is activated, you can place 1 Snake Eye monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in its owner spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. Level 1 fire monsters you control gain 1100 attack. So that makes Wimpy Snake Eye Ash over here into a 1900 beater, which is pretty great. He becomes an 1800, he becomes 1100, he becomes 2k, which pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. It even makes your level 1 Jet Synchron gain attack, which is hilarious. Once per turn, if your opponent normal or special summons a monster except during the damage step, you can target 1 monster card on the field that's treated as a continuous spell, special summon it to your field. You can only activate 1 Divine Temple of Snake Eye once per turn. Basically, you can just only 1. Decent card. I don't really feel like you need to run more than 1. I feel like having it as a 1 of is perfectly adequate. 2 Called by the Grave, 1 cross out, 3 Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils. This lets you add a Diabell Star monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 of your Sinful Spoils spell or traps that is banished or in your graveyard, except Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils. Place it on the bottom of your deck and then draw 1 card. You can only use each effect of Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils once per turn. The reason why this is so good is it lets you reoccur things like your original Sinful Spoils and your Sinful Spoils of Subversion, so you can continue using them and they're easily searched with Diabell Star. These cards kind of make like a circle of searching, which is pretty nice. 3 Infinite Imperm, and that's it for the main deck. Extra deck, we got 1 Formula Synchron, 1 Borreload Savage, 1 Baron DeFleur, 1 Link Karibo, 1 Relinquished Anima, 1 Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. And you're probably saying, why are you running this? Well, I'll tell you why I'm running this. It is 2 fire monsters, and if a monster is normal or special summoned to a zone this card points to, you can add a fire monster from your graveyard to your hand, but you can't normal summon, set, or special summon monsters with the added name. But this lets you reoccur something, which is very decent. So this is kind of here if you need to recur something and you're really desperate to do it. Hydia the Fire Charmer is good for the mirror match. It's also good because when it leaves the field by battle or an opponent's card effect, when it's destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can add a fire monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, which is going to be all of your dudes except for Snake Eye Birch. 1 LP Mask, 1 Dark the Dark Charmer, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Decode Docker Heat Soul. Sometimes you'll use this. Sometimes. 1 Promethean Princess, Bestower of Flames. You cannot special summon monsters except fire monsters. That's fine. You can only use each effect of Princess of Flames once per turn. So during your main phase, you can special summon 1 fire monster from your graveyard. Good effect already. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field while this card's in your graveyard, you can target a fire monster you control and 1 monster your opponent controls. Destroy them both and special summon this card. which that effect is great. Uh, Next, one amphibious swarm ship, Amber Whale, gains 200 attack for each link monster in the graveyards, so it's a decent match against Cyvers because they're going to be stacked in the grave. You can only use the following effects once per turn. If this card is destroyed, you can target a link 3 or lower monster in either graveyard and special summon it. If a link 3 or lower monster on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card's in the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard and destroy one card in the field. Also decent. And then next we have one Apollosa and one Access Code Talker. And I'm going to show you guys the replays. These replays are diamond replays. They are not master replays. I just want to say that right now. And that's just because I didn't really play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh this month. I played in the event, but other than the event, I just wasn't really that into it. But this deck did get me to play a little bit of YuGiOh. Alright, so my opponent is basically playing the mirror. I picked the wrong card because I read the effect wrong. They're going to Ash me. They're going to do Snake Eyes things. Oh yeah, Elf is actually pretty decent to run this if you want to. You don't need to, it depends. Mainly if you're running the TG engine in the deck. I'm personally not running the TG engine in the deck, but if you are, you should be running. Here's my opponent, they're going off, they're doing things. TG just does TG things. There's a big board. See, they had to negate it. They didn't have a choice. I'm telling you, that card is a lot better than people give it credit for. And let me get a draw. Let me unclog the hand. And you're going to see it again. Because, I can. Look at that. Playing out of that just massive board. My opponent's like, oh, yeah, no. I was going to summon their dragon next turn and just be like, yeah, it's mine now. This deck is very fun. Like, surprisingly fun. So, not the best hand, but we'll make it work. Honestly, I should have played Cross out there. And now I'm really glad I didn't play Cross out there. Because now I got rid of the Ash, so we're just going to do things. We're just stacking, and that's fine. What's my opponent playing? Cyverse? Oh yeah, they're going to give me so many cards before the turn's over. And at that point, they give up because they're like, oh, if we keep link ladder climbing, our opponent's going to get too many resources. just the consistency of the deck is the reason I like the deck. Um, a lot of people played this at YCS Vegas too, and only a couple of them had Fire Kings, which was the funny part. I think the guy who won wasn't even running Fire Kings. I think it was pure Snake Eye. But here we go. My opponent doing things. I don't know why they opted to play Satellite Synchron, personally. Yeah, at this point they give up because I guess they don't have anything, and I'm just going to dunk all over them because I had just a full hand. But the deck's a lot of fun. I really highly recommend you check it out. It took me a while to kind of get used to the combos and stuff you could do, but it is very fun. I'm doing this on my opponent's turn. It's like, hello. Oh yeah, this was weird. I have no idea what this person was playing. Like, are they playing Heart of the Underdog, Zodia or something? This was in Diamond. Like, why are you playing this in Diamond? Yeah, I didn't know what their set card was, so I'm just like, I'm like, let's dismantle board and start not link climbing, but synchroing. And of course we won. But yeah, that's just some of the stuff the deck can do. Very fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.